kids, and crime. The criminals are Dan Rather.
This is CBS.
Coming up next on News Center 8, the worst winter storm of the season roaring across northeastern Ohio is far from over. Snowfall amounts from several inches to drifts several feet, closing schools in the area.
Travel obviously is hazardous. Portions of some major roads have been closed. Treacherous highways taking their tolls on cars and drivers, with one death reported so far.
There hasn't been a flight in or out of Hopkins Airport since late afternoon because of poor visibility and high winds.
The action was hot in the Seattle Kingdome for the 37th annual NBA All-Star Game. It went into overtime.
Well, our worst bout of winter weather continues. The winter storm warning continues for northeastern Ohio, and the winds are howling out of the northwest.
Those stories and much more coming up next on News Center 8.
Siskel and Ebert review Over the Top tonight at 11:30 on TV 8.
Now, Dave Buckle, Sandy Lesko, Vince Cellini on sports, and Mark Kuntz with weather. This is News Center 8.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Here's what's happening. A major winter storm is playing havoc with travel in northeast Ohio tonight. There are accidents all over the place. Driving conditions horrendous. Conditions not expected to improve at all much overnight. Already some schools are announcing closings.
News Center 8's Jill Wagner is standing by live with a report on how the storm is affecting travel on the ground and in the air. Jill?
Here I am, Dave and Cindy. The wind's about ready to knock me over. Anyway, travel is treacherous, to say the least. The shoreway here at East 55th is closed from here all the way to 185th due to water splashing in from the lake. Across northeast Ohio, road conditions range from poor to hazardous. Officials in Akron say roads are icy. Travel should be limited to emergency use only. The turnpike is open, but the roads are snow-covered and icy. Visibility is poor. Roads in Ashtabula are hazardous. Visibility 0 to 50 feet. And road conditions in Elyria are snow-covered. All roads are open in Cleveland except for the shoreway, as I told you, from East 55th to East 185th. Earlier tonight, I-71 was lit up like a flashing marquee. Right around West 130th, a dozen or more cars spun out of control. It's been a hectic night's work for tow truck drivers.
Hey, they call me at home, man.
Cautious motorists inched along at a snail's pace. But as traffic backed up, so did the legal paperwork.
The rest of them have all been closed tonight. Oh, yeah? All of them.
At Cleveland Hopkins Airport, air travel is at a standstill. Most airlines began grounding flights late afternoon. Travelers who couldn't fly let their fingers do the walking through the telephone book to get hotel accommodations. The decision to fly is at the discretion of the individual airlines. Hopkins does not officially close in extreme weather. Most air carriers expect to resume flying in the morning, but that won't help these travelers tonight.
I have to go to Pete. I want to see my husband. I mean, to live there for 3 years, and I can't get there. I haven't seen him for 5 weeks.
Now, what did they tell you?
They told me all the flights are grounded and I can't get out.
I drove 25 miles in here. I'm just going to have to see exactly what's going to happen with the flight, whether or not I'm going to get out.
It appears the road conditions in the area could go from bad to worse. Mark Kuntz is at the Weather Center now, safe and warm, I might add. And Mark, can you tell us what motorists can expect overnight and tomorrow as rush hour begins?
Well, Jill, the first thing I can tell you, if you don't have to travel tonight, ladies and gentlemen, please stay at home. We have a long list of school closings to show you. The big story, though, is TV8 National Weather Service Color Radar. Let's go to that right now and show you actually where the snow still is. You know, the low has moved well up into New York State and over into Pennsylvania, but the biggest problem that we've still got at this point, that color green that you see there, we've even got some amber mixing in. That is all lake effect snow. As you know, Lake Erie is still open water. We have that strong northwest component coming across the open waters of Lake Erie. That's giving us the problem. You can see the snow all the way down through the Akron-Canton area. It's snowing across the state with the exception of Toledo and Findlay, where skies have cleared there, but we have some tremendous snow totals for you. In Streetsboro, already 16 inches of snow is on the ground there. In the city of Kent, they've got a foot of snow on the ground with snow drifts up to 4 feet, 5 and 6 foot snow drifts east of Cleveland out in Ashtabula. We've got about 11 inches of snow on the ground now out in Mayfield Heights. So travel is is certainly not advised tonight. For a while, a part of Interstate 480 was closed from about Oakwood Village all the way out to Twinsburg. The winds continue to howl, and I'll be updating you on that a little more in the weather show. Sandy?
Thank you, Mark. Well, as we've been mentioning, it is certainly no picnic out there for motorists tonight. The weather has created the most hazardous driving conditions imaginable. And naturally, there have been numerous accidents on area highways. We have 2 reports on what's been happening on the roads from Lisa Cardelloni and Neil Zerker.
The storm blew in quickly, virtually numbing northeast Ohio within hours. Motorists were especially surprised by snow-covered slick roads. More than 20 accidents were reported on Interstate 71, 77, 90, and 480. The worst was on 71 northbound near Snow Road, where more than 30 cars were involved in a chain reaction collision. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured. Close to 50 crews from the Ohio Department of Transportation are fighting a losing battle. They're responsible for clearing and salting hundreds of interstate miles across northeast Ohio. More than 50 crews from Operation Snowbird have spent their normal day off working to keep city streets drivable. They say their jobs would be a little easier if people would stay off the streets unless they absolutely had to drive. Lisa Cardelloni, News Center 8, Cleveland.
Some of the worst driving conditions were along Interstate 90 here in Ashtabula County, where high winds and blowing snow at times caused whiteouts. Blowing snow on the ice-covered highways caused dozens of cars to spin off the road. Here in Lake County, one man stopped to help another that had spun into the medial strip, and in turn, his car was hit by a third auto. A woman received minor injuries in the collision. By far the worst accident was this one in Perry Township, where a woman lost control of her car, hit a guardrail, and flipped over. A Lake County Sheriff's deputy who was directing traffic at another nearby accident saw the crash and realized the woman was trapped inside the car and that gasoline was leaking into the demolished auto.
I took a tire on, we had to bust the window out of the back glass, and I got her out through the back window.
What kind of shape she in?
Oh, I don't think her injuries are that serious, but she's got facial injuries, and she cut herself coming through that back glass. I had no alternative but to pull her out of there in case there was a fire.
Officials in several of the snowbelt counties this evening are warning not to drive unless it's absolutely necessary. Neil Zerker along Interstate 90 East.
High Chagrin River waters have begun forcing the evacuation of some families in East Lake. So far, it is voluntary as folks feel safer leaving with the threat of rising waters near the doorsteps. The East Lake Community Center, we're told by the Red Cross, is ready to accept evacuees. Well, those high winds have downed power lines in scattered locations all over the city. Wind gusts 40 miles an hour down to utility pole at East 79th and Star, toppling a web of live wires onto an automobile. The 2 women in the car stayed inside until help arrived. The illuminating company says about 2,500 customers are without power tonight. Huron Road Hospital is without power but is using a backup generator.
Dozens of school closings have already been announced. Here's the list of the closings as we have them up to the minute. We'll be updating and repeating the list a bit later on News Center 8. And tomorrow morning, beginning after 6 a.m., TV8 will be on the air with the latest on traffic conditions and school closings. And Mark Kuntz will be here to update you on the latest weather forecast. Stay tuned to TV8 for complete weather coverage.